Okay, we'll see how long I last in this sweater. Hopefully it's for the whole video, but I don't know. We'll see. Hello everyone and welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you're new here, my name is Annabeth, and on this channel I talk about the things that I have been knitting, whether that is hand knitting or knitting on my sock machine. And if you're a returning viewer, thank you so much for coming back. We have quite a bit to talk about today because it has been a while since my last knitting update. So I have some finished objects, some new whips, some new knitting plans, and it's just going to be a lot of fun, and I'm going to tell you all about it, and yeah, let's just get into it. So we're going to start off with finished objects, and then we'll go into whips and then knitting plans, and I might have a couple of announcements at the end as well, or they might work their way into the other sections. We'll just wait and see where my yapping self takes me. Okay, so let's get into it, starting with finished objects. Alrighty, so first finished object was a whip in my last knitting update, so here it is. This is my California sweater, designed by my friend Leslie over at Knit California. She's Knit California here on YouTube, Instagram, and I think also on TikTok, but I don't do TikTok, so I think that's accurate. I think she's also Knit California over there. But this was her very first sweater design. It's a really nice drop shoulder sweater, and it's a pretty open gauge sweater. You might be able to see with a bit of the light shining through the back there. So it's knit with one strand of fingering weight yarn and one strand of a fuzzy lace weight. So what I did with mine is I used yarn from two different dyers. I used the kind of brown that was the fingering weight is Edelwood from Teeny Button Studio on the soft sock base. And then the mohairs that I used, as you can see, I used 3 different colors of mohair, and those were all from Painted Fern Fibre Company. It was a mystery pack from the Funky Fronds sale that Diana did recently, at this point it's a few months ago, and these were all colorways that appeared in the spring like mini pre-order that Diana did. So the sweater itself, I'm going to talk about this quite a bit because this pattern is actually, as I'm filming this, it's getting released this Saturday, September 14th, so it's super exciting. Like I said, it was Leslie's first sweater pattern, so super excited for her. I was honored that I got to test it. So I'll give you some more details on this as well. If you want further details, then go check out Leslie's channel. I believe she is going to be doing a California sweater specific video at some point this week as well, in getting ready for the launch. So back to the sweater. It is a pretty open gauge, like I said, one strand of fingering, one strand of lace held together. The gauge is similar to the pretty popular Lento sweater that uses a similar yarn held together type thing. I believe Leslie recommends a US 10.5 needle, however I knit a little tighter than, no, I knit a little looser than Leslie does, so I ended up sizing down to a US 10, which is exactly what I knit my Lento with as well, so it worked out perfectly. Unlike the Lento, however, it is a drop shoulder pattern, so I don't want to give too much away because it is Leslie's pattern, but basically it's a Lento-like kind of open gauge sweater, but it is a drop shoulder rather than a raglan like the sweater. I did make some modifications that were approved by Leslie through the test. I added a tiny bit of length to the body in order to finish a stripe before I started the ribbing, and then with the sleeves, in the version of the pattern testers received, which I think will still be the case in the new one, don't quote me on that though, or in the final one, there were options for straight sleeves and fitted sleeves. I followed the straight sleeve pattern, or straight sleeve directions, but But then when I got to the end, I decreased down and did a final decrease row. I did one of those when you Google knitting decrease calculators. I did one of those. And I decreased down to the number of stitches for the fitted sleeve for my size. I made a size... maybe I made size 3? Let me check on that. Or like the medium size. Oh my gosh, this... I'm gonna have to get a new knitting log soon. There we go. California sweater. Wow, I did a really good job. I didn't write down what size I made. Pretty sure I made a size medium. Or a size 3. Yeah. And then, like I said, I used US 10s, and then I believe I also sized down my ribbing needle because I feel like I learned that as a rule once upon a time, and I keep following it. Like, if you size down the main needle, and then you should also size down the ribbing needle as well. So I'm pretty sure I used 6s on the ribbing now. I know I made pretty thorough notes on my Ravelry too, so if you want to just look at the notes on Ravelry, I think I made better notes there than in my own personal book, which is good, because then more people will look at them. Anyway, yeah, striped the mohair every 10 rows or rounds when you joined in the round, and yeah, California Sweater by Leslie at Knit California, coming out this Saturday, September 14th. Super exciting. I should have this video up by then, so hopefully all this promo won't be for nothing. And even, it won't be for nothing. What am I saying? It won't be for nothing. It's not like the pattern's gonna sell out. Like, it's a digital pattern. I'm gonna move on now. Can you tell I haven't done one of these in a while? So, yeah. Super exciting. I love this sweater. Very good open gauge, very good early fall sweater, so it's definitely going to get a lot of wear in the next couple of months, September, October, as it starts cooling down a little bit here in Northeast Ohio. So yeah, finished object number 1, California sweater. Moving on, other whip that I talked to you, moving on to the other whip that I talked to you about last time. Okay, so the other whip that I had in my last knitting update was a kind of like self-drafted blue tank top. I was using the starting numbers from the Summer Secret crop by Jessie May. So here's that. Here's this tank top. It was a somewhat success. It was going really well. And like when I finished the actual knitting of the body and the straps, it was pretty comfortable fit. Oh, the yarn that I used was Queensland cotton, I think Coastal Cotton Fine is its real name, in navy blue. It was going fine. And then as you can see, I did I-cord to like clean up the edges and stuff. And when I did that, it kind of gave this really cool effect of like a little bit of like an almost eyelet detail. Unintentional, but I really liked it. The issue is the armholes. For some reason, so hang on, gather your thoughts. The Queensland Cotton Fine yarn, it's like a fingering weight yarn. I don't think it would be considered a light sport weight. So when I did the armholes, I used my Cordsmith tool that I've talked about before, and I've done that before for an I-cord edge on armholes, and it's worked out fine. Like, I pick up the recommended number of stitches, I do the I-cord edge, and it has enough stretch for the armholes. For some reason, it wasn't the case with this tank top. So since that happened, this has kind of been in timeout until I decide what I want to do with it, because it's really disappointing because it fits really well. Like, the neckline's fine. It fits really well in the body. The problem is the armholes ended up being too tight and ended up cinching the body like too far up into my armpit than I want. So I just need to figure out, obviously I'm gonna have to redo the armholes to get the comfort and the fit that I want. It's just really frustrating, and I have to figure out how I'm gonna adjust it, because I'm pretty sure I picked up every stitch. So I just need to figure out, my working theory is that because it's 100% cotton yarn, so it doesn't have as much give as like a wool yarn or something, or the sock yarn that I've used the Cordsmith for an I-cord edge with before. So because it doesn't have as much give and as much stretch, I think that was the problem. So even though I was using the Cordsmith the same way I had in the past, it like wasn't making big enough loops or something. Like, I feel like I'm not explaining this very well. Overall, I think the issue was the different yarn base that I was using. So I have to figure out what I want to do. Maybe like every other stitch I like work an extra row of I-cord in between or something like that, so that the I-cord itself is longer. But yeah, this has been in timeout until I figure out what I want to do with it. I want it to be wearable and stuff. It's just right now it's not very comfortable in the arms for me. So that's all there is to say about that. I did a little 1-inch folded hem at the bottom. And then like some V-neck decreases for the upper body. But yeah, tiny bit disappointed, but overall, like, it's two things. It's two armholes that I need to fix. I just need to figure out how I want to fix them. If you have any suggestions, let me know. Yes, I'm aware I could knit the I-cord regularly, like with the needles. That would probably help as well. That's gonna be my last resort though. Just because it takes so long. So yeah, I'm gonna try some other ideas with the Cordsmith eventually, but yeah, I don't want to knit I-cord edge by hand ever again. So here we are. Yes, I understand that that probably would solve the problem, but I don't want to, and you can't make me. So we're going to be moving on now. That's all I have about this blue tank top. It was mostly a success. I just need to fix things, but I don't want to fix things right now. So there we go. Couple other finished objects for me to talk to you about really quick. Okay, so I mentioned at the top of the video that I have a couple announcements that might work their way into other parts of the video. This is one of those situations. I can't remember if I showed you this as a finished object or a whip last knitting update, so we're just going to talk about them again. I have Moth Man socks. These are my Above the Clouds socks. So if you've been paying attention, you may know that I recently released a pattern for my Beneath the Waves socks that are inspired by your favorite aquatic cryptid, be that Nessie, be that Bessie of Lake Erie, be that Champ of Lake Champlain. Either way, Beneath the Waves socks are out now. You can find it on my Ravelry and Etsy. The pattern. These are kind of like part 2 of the cryptid series that I'm making. I'm hoping to have 3 parts. You can probably guess who part 3 will be about. But yeah, these are the socks. These are these are the Moth Man socks. They are currently in testing. That's the announcement that I've been trying to get to for the past like minute or so. They are currently in testing, which is super exciting. I am shooting for a release date of October 18th, Friday, October 18th. These will hopefully be coming to you so you can make your own Moth Man socks. And yeah. That's really it. Testers have already been selected. I'm really sorry I didn't have a YouTube video like between the last one and this one, just so I could have offered up the testing call to you all here on YouTube as well. But if you want to stay in the loop for future testing calls and stuff, I highly recommend following me over on Instagram. I'm annabethkntwrthy with underscores between the words, and that's where I do most of the testing calls and updates about new designs and stuff, just because I'm on YouTube so infrequently. So yeah, currently in testing, hoping to release the pattern Friday, October 18th, which also happens to be the day before my 25th birthday, so that's awesome and not scary at all. Okay, moving on. Oh, I knit these in, my sample here was knit in Red Door Fibre Studios You Are Already Enough from the Witcher collection. That's the main color gray, and then the red is, Mezzo makes Tybalt. Tybalt from the Shakespeare collection. Okay, and then last finished object is another pair of socks. However, they were not a hand knit pair of socks. They were a sock machine pair of socks. On my lovely sock machine over here. I just realized she doesn't have a name. I feel like she needs a name. I've had her for almost 3/4 of a year now, and she still doesn't have a name. That's on me. My bad. My bad, buddy. Anyway, these are socks that I made on my sock machine. The main color is a self-striping colorway. It was Sheepjes, or Sheepjes. It's Sheepjes. Sheepjes? Downtown, I think the colorway is called Riverwalk. So it's this really nice self-striping yarn I got at my local yarn store, and then the cuffs, heels, and toes were made in Sewrella yarn Believe from their Knitflix collection, so it's a blue that is inspired by Ted Lasso. And I made these socks for something special. These socks I am calling my football season socks because, as I've mentioned before, it's my brother's last year of college football. We're currently in week 3, well, approaching week 3. This Saturday will be their third game of the season. And yeah, I made these socks, and then I've also made 3 other pairs, so one for each of my parents, and then a pair for my brother's girlfriend as well. And we haven't worn them to a game yet, but they've been traveling with us. It's just been way too hot to wear crew-length socks at any of his games so far, but definitely once the weather cools down, we're gonna like coordinate, we're all gonna wear them at the same time. It'll be super fun. So yeah, football season socks as well, made on my sock machine from Dean and Bean sock machines. I really have gone this long in the video mentioning my sock machine, not mentioning where I got it from. Dean and Bean sock machines. They're awesome. So yeah, there we go. So those are my 4, oh my god. I have 5 finished objects, guys. I forgot to tell you about the one that I'm wearing. Okay, finished object that I'm wearing. Good job, Annabeth. You almost forgot the one that you're wearing. You didn't hear about in my last video because it wasn't even a whip yet. So this is the Doppio sweater by SeungheeKnits. And it's a lovely Raglin top-down seamless sweater. The yarn that I made it in is 3 different colors from the D&D collection from Red Door Fibre Studios. So, do I have any leftovers? Oh, I do. Okay. These are the leftovers I have. So, the Doppio sweater is knit on US 10s, much like the Lento and the California sweater. However, it has, oh, I dropped it. It has more of a worsted weight gauge rather than a DK weight gauge because it uses 2 strands of fingering weight yarn and 1 strand of a fuzzy lace weight, whether it's a mohair or a suri. So these are the ones that I use. My first fingering weight yarn is this lovely variegated purple. That is Dissonant Whispers, I think. Yeah, Dissonant Whispers. This is the same purple if you remember my partner pullover, so the one that's like the variegated purple with the tonal black, with like where it's like checked and then it's like squiggly at the bottom. It's the same color, just on bounce sock rather than classic DK. The other fingering weight yarn that I used was Words of Terror, also on bounce sock. It's really nice teal color. And then the lace weight that I used was Bane on mohair. And like I said, these were all from Red Door Fibre Studios D&D collection. I got 2 skeins of each. I made a size 3. So I made a size 3, I got 2 skeins of each, and this is how much yarn I had left. I don't think... No, I didn't make any real modifications to the sweater. I did forego the faux seam. I wasn't feeling the faux seam on the sides, so I didn't do that, but that was just like 2 less stitches every round that I then didn't do. So I guess that's a modification, but I feel like it's kind of a... It doesn't... in the grand scheme of the sweater, me foregoing 2 stitches I don't think would have made me use up that much more yarn. Either way, I made this with 2 of each color and base. So yeah, Doppio sweater. Oh, another amazing thing about this sweater, and the reason I'm definitely already planning to make another one in the future, if you look at the Raglin seam, I don't know how well you can see it, but it kind of curves, so it's a little bit of more an S rather than a straight down, like, trapezoid raglan. So that's what I really loved about this pattern. It uses what's called a compound raglan, and in the past when I've seen compound raglans, it's like, okay, you do your traditional raglan and then you just increase the body. This one actually has like 3 different sections, and that's what creates that really nice curved raglan seam that then makes the sweater fit so well. So well. So definitely making another one in the future. Yeah. So there you go. There's the finished object that I almost forgot about because I'm wearing it and it's not on the floor in front of me. Now we're going to move on to whips. Alright, as has been the norm for I think the past few knitting updates at this point, I have 2 whips to talk to you about. One of them I talked about as a planned knit in my last one, and then the other one is kind of a new one. So let's get into that. So my first whip that I talked to you about is this pair of socks. Ta-da! So these socks, there's no pattern for them specifically. They are, well, kind of. They're a vanilla sock that I'm making where I'm doing 1x1 ribbing, I'm doing a shadow wrap short row heel, I'm doing classic toe decreases. So there's no pattern for that. The color work, however, so these lovely ghosties that we see here, come from the book Knitovation by Andrea Rangel. So it's a color work chart that's in that Stitch Dictionary. It's a really cool chart, repeating chart. If I wanted to, like, I could have done ghosts throughout because it's a really great repeating chart. And yeah, so it's a vanilla sock with the color work being from Andrea Rangel via her book Knitovation. The yarn that I'm using, my main colorway is this really cool, like, Sour Stitching's kind of like first yarn dyeing drop. So I snagged this when she did her very first like drop on Etsy of yarn that she had dyed. And yeah, so it's called Markle. It's inspired by Markle from Howl's Moving Castle. And then the contrasting color is this lovely, like, I don't think this would be a plum purple. It's like just a good warm medium purple. This is Mary from Sewrella Yarn's Downton Abbey collection. I have a collection of minis from that I've been using as contrast colors for socks. So I have, as you can see, one sock done, and then I am this far into my second sock. I hope to get a good chunk of the color work done before the weekend, because socks are like one of my favorite travel projects, but when I'm doing color work socks, it's a little bit more difficult for me to be motivated to work on color work while we're traveling, like while I'm in the car or on a plane or something, when we're traveling for football. So I'm hoping to get the color work section on this one done before Saturday, but we'll see. I don't know. Like, if this is the only project I've brought with me and I'm on the color work section, I'll work on the color work. But it's not my favorite thing, because I want to be able to just kind of like lock in and focus on color work when I'm knitting it, especially for something like this. So yeah. Oh, and this pair of socks I am making for like a special occasion. I am going to see the Ghost Files live tour. So if you're familiar with the YouTube channel Watcher, and Ryan and Shane and Steven, the creators of that channel, Ryan and Shane are on tour right now with their show Ghost Files, and I have tickets to see the Cleveland show, so I'm super excited, and I am planning on finishing these socks in time to wear them to the show. The Cleveland show is on the 23rd of September, so I have 12 days? 1, 2, 3. Yeah, I have 12 days to get them done, and I think I'll be able to. Especially with this weekend and driving to Indy and all that fun stuff. So, that's whip number 1. Moving on to whip number 2. Alrighty, whip number 2, I don't think I told you about. I don't think it was in my knitting plans yet, in the last update. But here it is. Not really much to look at yet. This is going to be the Love Magic sweater by Disco Stitch. So I'm sure you've seen it around. It tends to get really popular around this time of year in preparation for Halloween. It's one with like really gorgeous lacework bell sleeves and a little lacework on the lower body as well. Super excited to make it. But right now I am kind of in the middle of the Raglin increases, so yep, you can see my stitch markers, you can see my row counter from Twice You Cheap, of course. I still have an affiliate link with them if you want to check out their notions and tools and stuff. And yeah, like I said, not much to really distinguish it from any other Raglin knit that I've done right now, because I haven't gotten to like the statement sleeves or lacework on the body yet, but it's going really well. It's knit on US size 8s, and it is recommended that you use like a DK weight yarn. I'm actually using 2 fingering weights held together, so here's the yarn that I'm using. Oh, if I can get it to stay. So I'm using these 2. This is the colorway Speakeasy from Sewrella Yarn on their nylon sock base. So that's the 80/20 superwash merino nylon sock base. It's 400 yards per 100 grams. And so I'm holding that with this. This is from Treehouse Knits. It's the colorway There's a Lot of Beauty in Ordinary Things from their Office collection. and it's the Simply Silk fingering base. So it's 100% mulberry silk. If you can't tell, it's really hard to hold it up one-handed. And it's 218 yards per 50 grams. So I was able to get like 7 of these when Lauren from Treehouse Knits, I think, did her birthday in stock update. It was either her birthday or Treehouse Knits' birthday, like the shop's anniversary, the business's anniversary. So I was able to get a solid amount of this, and then I went on a bit of a quest to figure out what I wanted to hold the silk yarn with to create this sweater, the Love Magic sweater. So, like I said, I went on a bit of a quest. I considered, I had some Truffula cashmere, which is kind of a lace weight, fuzzy lace weight, heavy lace weight, in my stash in like a really dark purple. I considered doing that. I considered holding it with a different black fuzzy yarn, and then I had one skein of this in my stash already, so I asked around on the D-Stash Discord, found a couple more skeins, and was able to have this lovely pairing. And I think they're working up really nice together. You can't even really tell that it's 2 different yarns, like, from kind of far away. I can tell because I'm the one making it, so like I can see like, okay, that shine is coming from the silk, and like the little bit more matte stitches is where the wool was on the front of the stitch and stuff. Like, I can tell, but I feel like you can't really tell. I also went on a bit of a quest because I don't often hold such different bases together. So like I said, this is a sock yarn. It's 80% wool, 20% nylon. This is 100% silk. I don't often hold such different bases together. Usually I'm holding like a mohair and a suri with a wool, or 2 wools together, or 2 silks together. So I also asked the lovely crew over on Instagram if they had any thoughts on holding 2 bases like this together. And I got some really great information from a lot of people. The general consensus just seems to be that your finished fabric is going to have a little bit of both elements. So like I can see already I get a bit more drape like from the silk and a bit more of that shine that I mentioned earlier. And then but it also has a lot, like the wool is offering quite a bit of structure and stuff, which I think will be really great for when I get to the lace sections as well. And also the wool adds warmth, which will definitely be needed because I am hoping to get this done by either my birthday, so either October 19th, or definitely by Halloween, October 31st, so I can wear it on Halloween, be very witchy, kind of witchy vibes. So the wool is definitely needed because I think at least the past couple Halloweens, definitely last Halloween, it started snowing. So yeah, if that happens again this year, I want to have some wool in the sweater that I'm wearing, help give me a little bit of warmth. But then if it's not as cold as it has been the past couple of years, then the silk will help keep me a little cooler. It's the best of both worlds. So I'm really loving how this is working up. I think the pattern is really well written, and I'm super excited to keep going and eventually get to the actual lacework sections. Because right now it's fun because it's just like kind of a standard Raglin top-down sweater, but then once I hit the sleeves and like the lower body, then the super exciting fun begins with the lacework and stuff. So yeah, there's my other whip. Love Magic sweater. I've talked a while between these finished objects and these whips, so I'm going to give a really quick rundown of some of my upcoming knitting plans. Alrighty, so knitting plans. Upcoming knitting plans. I have quite a few still, since we have 3.5 months of 2024 left. However, most of my plans right now revolve around, once again, switching up and adjusting my Make 9. So if you watched my Q2 update from July? Yeah, from early July, then you may remember that I made some edits to my Make 9 at the beginning of the year. So I want to make more edits. And that's okay because it's my Make 9. It's not anybody else's Make 9. I reserve the right to change my mind. So I'm going to tell you about the changes that I'm making. So first up, I have finally accepted the fact that I am not starting the heirloom quilt cardigan this year. It's not happening. I have too many other things that I want to get done by specific dates in the next few months. And I feel like when I do start that sweater, I want it to be at the start of the year. So that's my new goal with the heirloom quilt cardigan. I want to start it in January. It's going to be a 2025 project. And project 2025. Okay, sorry, beside the point. I watched the debate last night, guys. Anyway, moving on. It's going to be a project for 2025. And I want to be able to take my time with it and go kind of slow with it and maybe make a couple quilt blocks every month and stuff. So it pains me to say this because I am still so excited to eventually start this knit, but it is getting pushed to 2025. Yeah, so in place of that, I didn't mention this last time because I was still kind of deciding in my last knitting update. I decided to swap the heirloom quilt cardigan for the California sweater. It was still a new to me pattern. It's still used up yarn that had been lingering in my stash, so I'm happy with that. I'm happy with that choice. So now, technically, I've completed 5 out of my Make 9 because in my previous edits to my Make 9 I added the Doppio. I swapped out the Doppio for, I think, the stick season sweater. Either way, I now have 5 out of 9 things made. So I have the Doppio and I have the Knit California sweater, the California sweater by Knit California, replacing the heirloom quilt cardigan. So yes, that was change number 1 that I've made recently in my Make 9 goals. The other change that I'm making also pains me a little bit because I was super excited about this sweater at the start of the year and even back in July, but at this point I'm accepting the fact that it probably won't get made this year. I'm swapping out the Seren sweater, which pains me a little bit because I love Emma and I love her pattern. So it's the Seren sweater by Bloom and Create, Emma Janet from Bloom and Create. Love Emma, I love her patterns, I just don't think that one's getting made this year anymore. Same kind of thought as the heirloom quilt cardigan. It's a sweater that I want to be allowed to take my time on and not feel like I have a deadline for. So, it's really beautiful. I still have plans to knit it in the same yarn that I mentioned earlier this year in the 3 different colorways from Red Door Fibre Studios Princess Bride collection that I have. I'm still so excited about that combination and that sweater, but again, it's going to get pushed and it's going to be a 2025 project, I think. So that's getting swapped out with my current whip, the Love Magic sweater. So those are the changes being made. So that also puts me at 5 out of my Make 9 done, which is super exciting. And then it also puts me at 1 of them still being in progress. So all of my upcoming knitting plans, well, I might still have a sock project in there somewhere, just because I love socks. But my other knitting plans revolve around finishing my Make 9. So let's talk about and remind you what those are. My chair is so squeaky. If it's been doing that the whole video, I'm sorry. I don't know how to fix it. So the 3 remaining makes on my Make 9. One of them I'm going to be starting soon, even though I said that in the last knitting update video. It's going to be the Cheeky Checky Beanie by SeungheeKnits. It's going to be in these 2 colors. It's going to be for later football season when the weather starts getting cold and I need a hat. And it's going to be a lot of fun. And I will probably start this very soon. Probably when I finish my ghost socks, this will get cast on. I don't know why. I've just been really holding myself to 2 whips at a time lately. I feel like that just feels more manageable for me right now, given my current schedule and everything that's happening. So this will probably get started and cast on when those socks are done. I'm expecting it to be a pretty quick knit because it is a hat and it is color work, all over color work, which makes my brain very happy and is typically a very potato chippy characteristic for a knit for me. So I'm expecting to cast this on very soon and also get it done pretty quickly. So yeah, Cheeky Checky Beanie by SeungheeKnits. Oh, and these are both from Painted for Fibre Company. This is Midnight Pond and Rain, and they're going to look gorgeous together. Next reminder from my Make 9, I'm going to make the Matthew pullover by Amy Scher Makes. This is one of the ones that's been on my Make 9 since the beginning, and it's because I'm going to knit it in this lovely color. This is, I didn't show you the front of the label. This is from Paisley Knits Yarn Company. It's the colorway Charlotte, and it's on their cloud base. I've worked with the cloud base before. It's so lovely. It's going to be so good in this sweater. The cloud base is a 70% baby alpaca, 7% merino wool, 23% nylon, and it's 284 yards per 100 grams. So it's a blown yarn rather than like a plied yarn, I believe. And it has like a bulky, like heavy, like Aran to bulky weight, but it gives you the yardage of like a DK. So how can you not love that? So like I said, this is going to be for the Matthew pullover, and this has stayed on my Make 9 all year because it is my goal. I keep mentioning my brother's football season. It's my goal to have this done in November because, or by November, I guess. So I have to cast it on pretty soon. But beside the point, because it's his last football season, that means his last home game is going to be his senior day, and I would really love to have this sweater done in time for senior day. I think it would be really nice to have something special to remember that day, and also to stay warm at the football game, because at that point in the year it's going to start being consistently chilly at those. So yeah, Matthew pullover by Amy Scher Makes in Charlotte from Paisley Knits. I think, if I remember correctly, I think it's a pretty big gauge sweater as well. I want to say it's like on a US 10, so I'm not too worried about getting it done yet. But yeah, it'll get casted on pretty soon. It's funny, I just talked about how I've been holding myself to 2 whips. There's a good chance this will get cast on if I make good progress in my Love Magic sweater. Like, before the Love Magic sweater's done. I don't know. We'll see. So then my final Make 9 surrounding knitting plan. Sorry, my camera cut me off there. My final Make 9 knitting plan. It's going to be with this lovely number. This is the green lap of the Newcomb Spring from Painted for Fibre Company. This is on the Marsh worsted base, which is 100% superwash merino. And it's 219 yards per 100 grams. This is going to be, so if you remember my updated Make 9 from my goal update video in July, I was kind of waffling between 2 cabled cardigan patterns. It was between the Book Club cardigan by Sari Nordland and the winter cardigan or winter sweater that's, I think was put out by Kelburn Woolen Mills. I don't remember the designer's name right now, but I'll put it up on the screen. I'm going to make the winter sweater, winter cardigan in this. It has some really gorgeous, like, diamond-shaped cables down the sides. It's just a really beautiful all-over cable cardigan. I want to get one more cardigan in before the end of the year, so I'm hoping to get this done in December. If I can get it done in time to wear for Christmas and New Year's, that would be fantastic. But yeah, that's, I've decided it is going to be the winter cardigan that wins out over the book club cardigan this year for my Make 9, and it's going to be knit in this beautiful green yarn from Painted Fern Fibre Company. So yeah, that's my edits and my current plans for my Make 9. Alrighty, so that just about wraps it up for this knitting update. I already talked about the Above the Clouds announcement, so just a reminder, the pattern is going to be coming out Friday, October 18th, barring any changes to the timeline. And then I mentioned the row counters from Twice Sheared Sheep earlier. I do still have a Twice Sheared Sheep affiliate link. You can find that in the description below, then also in the link in my bio here and also over on Instagram. They're going to be coming out with their fall collection pretty soon. I think they're starting reveals this week. So that's super exciting. If you see anything you like there and you want to help support me, support this channel, support my endeavors in knitting, feel free to shop through my affiliate link. I've mentioned before, it's this kind of situation where at no extra cost to you, I just earn a small commission on purchases used through my links. So it's really great. Thank you to everybody who has used that already. There was something else, and now I can't remember what it was. California Sweater comes out this Saturday, September 14th. Super excited for Leslie and for that pattern to be out to you all. There was something else, and now I can't remember what it is. Oh, I remembered what it was. So some of my knitting friends, including Leslie from Knit California and Rachel from Rachel is Knitting, they have made me aware of this really cool feature over on Ravelry where you can create a wish list through your patterns that you've favorited. So I have made a pattern wish list, so if you want to support me and my knitting and this channel in that way, that's now also linked in the link in my bio, and then I'll put it down below as well. You can buy me a pattern on Ravelry. If you can't use Ravelry but still want to contribute, let me know and we can work it out. But again, don't feel required or pressured to do so. It's just something where if you want to and you want to support this channel, it's there as an option if you don't want to use affiliate links or buy a pattern or something like that. So it's a third option that I've decided to take part in. So that definitely wraps it up now. Thank you so much for watching, both returning viewers and new viewers. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to give it a thumbs up. Let me know down below. You can subscribe to my channel as well. I don't post as often as I used to just because of the time of year. I'm a lot busier now with going back to school and a whole bunch of other commitments that I have. But if you want to stay more up to date on day-to-day happenings in Annabeth's Knitworthy world, definitely follow me over on Instagram. I post a lot more over there. So again, that's annabethkntwrthy with underscores between the words. And yeah, super exciting. Beneath the Waves pattern is out now. Above the Clouds pattern is coming. And yeah, thank you all for watching. I hope to keep doing these kind of monthly at this point knitting updates, but we'll see where the year takes us, the end of the year takes us. But otherwise, I hope this week has been kind to you. I hope September is being kind to you, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye!